Okay guys, thank you so much for coming back. This is part 2 of a 2-part series on the consonant and vowel page. Welcome back to Rachel's Remedies and the homeschool series. We are in the midst of spell to write and read explained. I want to get far enough to where I feel like, okay, you've got this. And so what better place to start besides the consonant and vowel page? A notebook. And I don't remember why I did this, but I did. I think because I would just flip through the cards like that. But on the front is going to be the phonogram. Any special instructions, doing the rule, occasionally review the rule is going to be on your card. So there's on the back of some of the phonograms, there's a rule, and every couple of times that we say that phonogram, I say Q always needs a U, U is not a vowel here, and we review the rule. Again, so much for coming. And today we're going to talk about, last time it was really getting those consonants down on the consonant vowel page. Today it's going to be the vowels and talking more about the multi-letter phonograms. So let's dive in. Vowels are more difficult. So I think what I did is I broke this up into 2 days for the consonant and vowels page to write them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dictate. We're going to write the A, E, I, Y, O, U. We're going to dictate that down the page. Okay, so A, ah. What is the most common sound for this phonogram is going to be the ah. I am your teacher. And then it tells you exactly what to do. I'm reading from the book. Write am is going to be A for ah. And so the next column besides am, we are going to write the word apron. Apron. Now let's clap this. Apron has how many syllables? Apron has 2 syllables. So when we write the word apron, I'm going to go ahead and divide it into the syllables when we write the word down. So we'll write the A and then a space, and pron is going to be the second part. Here, apron, we're going to talk about why did the A say A, and A always says A at the end of a syllable. So it's its own syllable. It's going to say A. Yes, A-E-O-U, usually say A-E-O-U at the end of a syllable. Now we're starting to really just mouth the rules of the English letters. Now, when we talk about apron, they get to use their red pencil and their 6-inch ruler again, because the A has a rule with it. A-E-O-U, always say A-E-O-U, say A-E-O-U at the end of a syllable. So because a rule is associated, they're going to get to underline their A with a red line. So you're kind of reinforcing and making sure they understand a little bit of why am I underlining the A on apron. As you dictate words, and as you're going to work through the vowels section portion of this, you're going to ask questions like, do we need a special marking on this one? This is so good. Don't expect yourself or your students to understand all the ins and outs of this material at first. The program starts with rapid exposure of the key puzzle pieces to language. We introduce the key principles and continue using them. So this is by Faith. This is your first year. WASP, I'm going to go ahead and show you. WASP has a little 3 over the A, and the reason is ah is the third sound. So letter has, like, one of these vowels has a third sound on it. Ah, o, u, and ya, or u, has 3 sounds. We get to put a little 3 on top of the letters if it has the third sound on it. Just to reinforce, this letter has 3 sounds, and I'm using the third sound in this particular word. So that is the beginning. This is the beginning of your life in SWR, and this is the beginning, the introduction to marking your words. The whole program is going to be writing the words from the most used words to the least used words of the English language and marking them. So there's page 1, and you will see some of the markings, but it's very simple. If you dictate the vowel and consonant page, even if you use 3 or 4 days to go through this consonant and vowel page, when you've accomplished the page, and you're going to do it in your teacher notebook first, then in the student notebook. But if once you finish this page, you kind of understand markings pretty well. This is such a good introduction to the program, such a good first and second week of the program. We are going to do the consonant and vowel page, and then start our multi-letter phonogram page next. These markings are important, but the book tells you exactly how to do the page, and you'll see there's a bracket on the I and the Y. They're related because they make kind of the same sounds. And so we put a bracket around those. Is for vowels on the I section. I wrote is for the most common sound, the if. So is a word with just 2 letters, but the S is making the second sound. Z. So we want to put a little 2 over the S. Item is what I wrote for the long sound. And why did I underline the I on item? Because I says I at the end of a syllable. What about me? Why did I underline the E at the end of me? Because E says E at the end of the syllable. So you can see pretty quickly by the end of the consonant and vowels page, you're kind of getting why you mark the words and how important this is to the program. Now, only in the back of the book do you mark in red, because this is the special rules section. When they are doing day-to-day words, they're doing all of the markings in black. Now, one special note, at the beginning of your learning log, which is the teacher's log, you have copied there's a page in your Spell to Write and Read handbook, and you have copied the teacher's table of contents, and you glued it in the front of your learning log. That's the only difference between yours. The child's learning log is going to have this page at the front of their learning log, and every so many weeks they're going to practice writing their name. So I try to do it like once a month on this learning log really quickly, because next time I want to jump into your lessons and into the OWL, the WISE Guide for Learning. You're going to start your multi-letter phonogram page next. So on the rules, the first rule in the back of the book is going to be vowels and consonant page. The second one in the back of the book is the multi-letter phonogram page. So now they can say all of their phonograms and write A through Z. And so now we're going to introduce multi-letter phonograms in 13 weeks or less. Moving forward, it is best to move forth rapidly with the drill and the phonogram sounds and handwriting to the basic tools, not expecting them to fully learn them when they start to learn them. By week 13, a student will typically get 80% of phonograms correct on a quiz. Okay, so you have your single phonograms now, you have your multi-letter phonograms, and we want to teach at least a few of the phonograms before starting spelling. Your daily lesson plan, now this is important, will include the phonogram work, new and review, spelling words from the WISE Guide, and reinforcement of words using varying aspects of language arts. So start at the beginning of the program teaching new phonograms as listed in the WISE Guide preliminaries. Before section A, which is what we're going to start next week, first 5. So sh, which is the SH, the TH, these are your first, this is your first multi-letter phonogram. Sh. And your second multi-letter phonogram is the th. Next to the th you're gonna put a 2 because it has 2 sounds. That's why they need to know how to write their numbers when they do this program. And then your third multi-letter phonogram on the page is gonna be oo, o, oo, o. And when you write it in your page, you're gonna do a little 3 next to oo, o, because the oo, o says 3 sounds. Okay, so that is starting your multi-letter phonogram page. Okay, so my battery died and here we are. E always says E is next. And then oi as in boy. The 2 ois, there's the oi that we may use at the end of the English word, the oi that we may not use at the end of an English word. And then the next one is ch, k, sh, and ch, k, sh has 3 sounds. So the 3 will go next to it. So that is, you're going to get at least 5 or 6 into that second page of rules. Okay, so if you've copied the table of contents for your teacher's page, your teacher's book, and put it in the front, this will be, like, refer to this because it is a really perfect, people always complain, their biggest complaint about spell to write and read is it being disorganized. Is actually highly organized. It tells you exactly the order which you're going to go in every single year. And really, this teacher's page on the very front is an awesome guide. Number 1 is going to be the consonant vowel page. Number 2, now the consonant vowel page is before teaching any spelling words, and it says that on your teacher's thing. Number 2 is going to be the multi-letter phonograms, which we just went through the first 5 or 6. As you introduce new phonograms, you're going to go to that back and you're going to write them down. As they learn more and more multi-letter phonograms, we want to write them down and put them in our special book. The next part is the sh page, which is going to be the 3rd page in the very back of your book. It says after E. Well, E, that's referring to, this is the book we're headed towards. This is what Romalda Spalding referred to. It is the first 2,000 words divided into word list, organized from the most used word to the least used word in the English language. If you can read the first, if you can write and read and spell the first 17 list or 15 list, you can read 100% of the books out there. Most of the books in the English language use the first 300 words in those books. So what that means is your child will be completely set free in their reading and writing skills as soon as they conquer the first few pages of this book and begin to write the words in their diary, their learning log, and begin to learn these spelling rules. All of a sudden, when they pick up a book, they can read it. The phonograms, we're going to drill those daily or regularly, and then we're going to do phonogram quizzes, okay? The phonogram quizzes, you can reverse it. Some days you're going to say a, and they're going to write the A down. And then you're going to say E, double E, always says E, and they'll write 2 E's connected. You're going to quiz them on their phonograms, closed book quiz. So that what they're hearing and what they're saying with their mouth, now they can regurgitate it back onto paper. We're going to rotate between reading phonograms and spelling phonograms. The same code is used for both reading and spelling. In reading, we need to simply see the phonograms and say the sound. For spelling, we may need to distinguish between more than one phonogram with the same sound, okay? So A that we may use at the end of an English word is AY. A that we may not use at the end of an English word is AI. So when I say A that we may not use at the end of the English word, now your student needs to be able to write AI and be able to kind of regurgitate that information. So we often had these little quizzes with the phonograms they already know. So that's kind of cool. Once you're putting this information in, the quizzes to kind of tell you, okay, they're getting it. 11 is our benchmark. So after step 11, we get to start the WISE guide, and you're going to complete steps 1 through 11 every single year. So everything we just did, next year, they'll get their new little learning log. It will be blank. You will do those steps again next year. Place students at the appropriate place in the WISE guide list. Young children should start always with section A. Teach students 10 years old or above. Teachers who like to transition students to this program often start with section A. Absolutely positive you should start further ahead. If they have been doing this program, then next year, like we're gonna do A through I for the whole year for kindergarten. First grade is you're gonna repeat A through I, and then you're gonna go J through L. Second grade, you repeat J through L, and then your new words for the year are M through O. So you can see in this book, there's a nice little thing, and it shows you where to start the word list. If you're new to the program, you're gonna start with A, no matter what grade you're in, because learning how to mark the words, divide them by syllables, that each letter has more than one sound, or a phonogram could have more than one sound, underlining phonograms that are 2 letters or more that go together. We're learning how to do all of that, and what better way to learn than with words you already know. So number 11 has how to teach reluctant or delayed learners, teach multiple levels in the same class, apply the art of teaching, and then common mistakes. I am going to read these. Don't get stuck. Keep going. Do not harp on any one phonogram or any one concept. You're just going to do a little bit today and then put it away, and then do it again tomorrow and put it away. If you get stuck and don't keep the pace quick enough, you're both going to end up not liking the program. And resist making unrealistic demands. This program is brand new for you. It's brand new for your student. That was a question somebody had for me. If like they heard that I was expecting perfection, and so they were like, how do I teach perfection? Doesn't that make them demoralize the student? So this is how I teach perfection. When a student is writing their letters and they're writing a word, or they're writing a whole letter or a whole row of A's, and they're connecting the A's, what I like to do is I look through the whole ocean of A's that they've written, and I get my little stars out, and I put a little star or a sticker above my favorite 3 A's. And I'm like, look at how perfect this is, how round it is, how perfect the connectivity is. And I talk through why I just am so enjoying looking at these A's. And so we don't talk about, you know, how flat or squished, or I don't talk about any of that. I'm just, and if they write a word and a B is just perfectly formed, I go on and on and on about the B. So that is how I inspire them to be better the next time. I think he had backwards J's for 3 years. We just work at it, try it again, try it again. And at some point he finally just did it. But don't get frustrated with yourself. Don't get frustrated with your student. We are now up to step 11, which is exciting. That means next week we can begin daily spelling in the WISE list, and I cannot wait to do that with you, because once you get started on the WISE list, now we're really rolling. And you may already be at that point now. So hope y'all enjoyed this. Can't wait to see you next time. Bye-bye.